Hear me out, everybody. Longshot is a brand new romantic comedy that just came out this weekend, which stars Seth Rogen, Charlize Theron, and is directed by Jonathan Levine. Now, I got the opportunity to see this at South by Southwest at the world premiere, and I absolutely loved it. I came out saying that was probably my favorite film at South by Southwest, not just because of the energy in the room, but just because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And when a rom-com is done so well, I find myself falling in love with it 10 times fold. It ends up being one of my favorite things about it, and that's why I'm here to tell you guys why you guys should see Longshot, but also why I think this is the perfect romantic comedy. And also, guys, I'm doing a giveaway for one of these jackets, one of these windbreakers. I actually have 2 of them now, and I want to give one of them away for you guys. So how can you guys give away? Well, stay tuned towards the end of the video, and also look into the description down below on how you guys can get in to win one of these awesome windbreakers. I want to give you guys one of it. It's the windbreaker that Seth Rogen wore throughout the whole entire film, so stay tuned. Back to it, though. Longshot is a perfect romantic comedy. A lot of different elements of a romantic comedy need to work, and Longshot isn't one of those films that breaks the mold by any chance. In fact, it really does fly into the same mold. It does follow the same patterns of most typical rom-coms, but some things that a lot of rom-coms get different is they miss the aspect of either the romantic part or the comedy part. Jonathan Levine and also writer Liz Hannah and Dan Sterling they all understood what had to work for this film, and that is the smartest aspect of the movie, is how both romantic and the comedy flows perfectly together. Going even further into that, I would like to say this, is that the romance part is so well perfectly placed together. I found myself getting so entwined with their characters, and really Jonathan Levine takes such his time building up this relationship so that you do believe it and doesn't just seem like a long shot that Charlize Theron would fall in love with Seth Rogen or Seth Rogen would fall in love with Charlize Theron. No, that relationship is perfectly structured and balanced to such a nice scale that it never at one point made me go, yeah, I don't believe this at all. And it's building that relationship, that believability, that uniqueness, that really furthered the relationship and made the romance part work so well. You know, personally, this is one of the best romantic comedies I've seen in such a long time. In the past, we've gotten films like Crazy Stupid Love or The Big Sick, but I think Longshot is on a different level of rom-com style. Other things that go to build such a perfect relationship isn't just from the directing or the writing. You might get that believability, you might take your time pacing it, but it's who you cast that takes it to the mold, and this film has some perfect casting. You cast Charlize Theron, who's excellently one of the best actresses working in Hollywood today, if not the best, and her performance in here is outstanding. Like, it is one of the best outstanding performances in here. She's hilarious, she's funny, but she's also very stern, but believable that her character would fall in love with Seth Rogen. Of course, we also do look at Seth Rogen's character, who is a journalist in this world, but again, it's his relationship that he takes it, and the way that he plays off this character, because he is in a sense playing Seth Rogen that he usually plays. These typical characters, his stoner, but he plays it to a more realistic level. It's not, say, a Pineapple Express over-the-top comedy vibe, or even, say, The Night Before, where he's going a little bit over the top at times. No, they both play both perfect characters who both feel very realistic, and that's what I think the romance part also captured so greatly, is that it is realistic. It feels like a real relationship. It feels like 2 actual people. I didn't just see Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen. No, I saw Fred Flarsky and Charlotte Field. Brings me to my next part about what makes a romantic comedy work. You might get the romance down, but if the comedy isn't firing, then it kind of drags down the film. That's where this film works to another level. Fluid, and it's paced perfectly all the way through. But the thing that I really appreciate with the comedy is that they didn't just go for the typical pop culture references here and there, which they do have some, but they're relevant. The film feels relevant for the political climate and some of the political jokes that they throw in that I think Republicans and Democrats, no matter what side you are on, can get entwined with this. And the messages that the comedy, and even again that the film layers throughout, is getting you to look through different sides, not just being a wary one-sided mind where I think a lot of people are today. This film opens up perspectives to a whole nother level, and I really appreciated that. But again, this all structures down to the comedy. It's sweet. It's not too raunchy at times. There are raunchy moments, do not get me wrong. There are those moments where every single comedy nowadays feels to have a raunchy comedy moment, but it's clever raunchiness. It's never over-the-top raunchiness where it pulls you out of the film and you're like, okay, really, this would never happen. But it's relatable comedy. It's sweet, it's humorous, and at no point in time did I not laugh. every joke hit for me and I just could not stop laughing. To be honest, there's multiple moments in here that I want to quote in this editorial, but I don't want to because if you haven't seen Longshot yet, I don't want you to get ruined. Trust me, there will be certain moments in this film that you will walk out of the film with either a loved one, a friend, a family, and you're going to be re-quoting it the whole entire rest of the year, because certainly that has happened to me. Plus, it's a romantic comedy. It's around 2 hours long, and some comedies should not be 2 hours, but again, since it's a romantic comedy and since the romance part was working and the comedy part was working, the 2 hours melds and has a perfect pacing throughout the whole entire way through, where you totally forget that it is only 2 hours long, and that because it's building that relationship so you believe in it, but also making you laugh and fall in love with the characters and understanding why these two would fall in love with each other. I was talking about the performances earlier, how great Seth Rogen was, how great Charlize Theron was, but it's also the supporting cast that, my God, is fantastic. I mean, some big standouts especially was probably O'Shea Jackson Jr., who stole every single moment in this whole entire film. His chemistry with playing Seth Rogen's best friend is off the charts great, but you chalk it up to every single person in this film. You look at everyone who assists Charlize Theron's character in here is great. You look at Andy Serkis, who plays the antagonist role into this movie. Very, very unrecognizable, but funny. You go over to Bob Odenkirk, who's playing the President of the United States, is hilarious. And even Alexander Skarsgård shows up in here as the Canadian Prime Minister for some very awkward, cringy moments, but are not cringy enough to not make you laugh. It's these performances that really make the film elevated to a whole nother level. Moving into the next great thing about Longshot, again, I've mentioned it, I've hinted at it a little bit, but it is Jonathan Levine's directing. This film does not work without his direction. Again, he paced the film perfectly. He understood every layer of that script that Liz Hannah and Dan Sterling had put together. And I have to say this, really big fan of Liz Hannah. Hearing her whole story about how she got the post made really just makes me a big fan of her, and I'm so happy to see that she was on track to make this film. Like, that made me so happy that this script got picked up. Again, it's Levine's directing, and the way that he takes the script, he puts it onto screen, and he had such a great style and direction with the film that it does feel like a Levine film. Again, it goes back to every film the guy has made. Sometimes he will have over-the-top humor, but almost every film that he's made, especially when you look at 50-50 and The Night Before, he always has that realistic take on a relationship. Whether it's friends, family, or loved ones, he knows how to capture it and place it perfectly into a film. Even play off the comedy in a very realistic way too, and in a sense, a way that's relatable to the audience. This is a lot of the reasons why Longshot works for me. It wasn't just because I got a free jacket, it wasn't again because Boyz II Men came out to perform at the premiere. Thing is that overall, I found myself really engaged with this movie and not being able to stop talking about it. I'm so obsessed with it, and I cannot implore you enough to go check it out. Truly, Longshot is not just a charming film, but it's a laugh riot. It's not your typical Seth Rogen comedy, but it has very much realistic aspects. It's Seth Rogen playing a very different type of role, a more realistic version, a toned-down version of him, and I love that he took that subtle manner of him. Charlize Theron is the same way, playing off him, and their banter with one another has excellent chemistry. For Longshot, I really do think it's one of the best made films of the year, and this is why Longshot probably still is my favorite film of the year. Again, charming, it's a laugh riot. I found myself needing stitches after laughing so much. If you adore these actors, if you adore the direction of Jonathan Levine, this is definitely a film for you. If you're picky with rom-coms just like me, change your mind on how great some rom-coms truly be. Like I said, hear me out. Longshot is a perfect rom-com. Thank you guys again so much for watching this video. I know you guys are seriously all the best. If you guys are new here, well, consider hitting that like and subscribe button for tons of other editorial, early movie reviews, and rankings over on this channel. And plus, I'm sure you guys are wondering, what about that giveaway? So if you guys want to win one of these windbreakers, this is how you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to share this video on Twitter with your favorite moment and favorite thing about this video that you guys really liked, and have the hashtag ZachLovesLongshot. You're going to have to tag Jonathan Levine and me on Twitter. My Twitter is @PopeTheKing, guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching this, and I'll be announcing in a week or so, I'll be DMing the winner of one of these jackets. I might have one extra one, so I might give out two, so make sure, guys, do not miss out on this. Thank you guys again so much for watching this, and check out Sandwich on Films. If you guys want to check out films early, like this, John Wick, and other ones coming down the road. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and stay classy.